And welcome back to another episode of Flock's Nest Sports Podcast. As always, I am one of your hosts, Dallas, repping 52 of the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens.
As always, I'm the other half, Brendan, repping 54, Bobby Wagner of the Seattle Seahawks.
We got a really great episode for you guys today. We're going to talk a little WNBA, definitely some college football, and of course, I promise we will talk NFL because I know that has been an interesting, stressful, humbling week for a lot of fans. So we're definitely going to talk all of that. We're also going to have Brendan reveal his quarterback tiers today. So with all that being said, let's jump right in. Don't believe we have any hockey, baseball, or basketball news today.
Nope.
We do have a little WNBA news as their playoffs continue to approach. We had some more teams clinch a playoff spot as well as some teams be eliminated. So just quickly, the Lynx have secured the top seed and home court advantage through the entire postseason. So congratulations to them. The Atlanta Dream and the Phoenix Mercury have also clinched their playoff berths. So we're at 4 of 8 teams at this point for the playoffs. Currently eliminated teams are the Kinetic Sun, Dallas Wings, and the Chicago Sky, which means the Liberty, Valkyries, Fever, and Storm are still contending for spots. So hopefully in the next week or so, we'll have the remainder of the WNBA playoffs, and we will talk more about that next week. It's been exciting seeing these teams kind of round out the last couple weeks of their season, seeing them make their final push, final effort just to get into the playoffs. Obviously, watching the Valkyrie, they have done a tremendous job. I think they're on like 6-1 run right now since their last break, trying to clinch a playoff spot. So, pretty exciting stuff.
Nice.
Alrighty, well, that does it for the WNBA. Let's kick it off into college football as they had week 1 of their season this past weekend. Plenty of games, plenty of action. What did we think, Brendan?
Hell yeah. So we'll start with kind of the sadder news of college football. If you're a longtime fan like myself, Lee Corso is a huge icon in college football. Sadly, he is retiring. This was his last weekend of doing college game day, doing stuff. So it was a really nice send off for him. So shout out to Lee Corso and all he's done for the sport and all he's done for college game day. It was a really nice send off. It was really cool. But his last week doing college game day. So kind of sad. Has been around forever since I've started watching college football and since before that, and has just kind of been around forever. So really sad to kind of see his career come to an end, but it was a really nice send off. So we'll start there. In terms of actual games, we'll start with the biggest one. Obviously, Texas, Ohio State played in Ohio. That was billed to be one of the games of the week. And to me, it fell very flat. Just wasn't a great game, in my opinion. The defenses kind of just dominated the day. No real surprise. You had 2 first-year starting quarterbacks going against each other, and they both showed it. The quarterback for Ohio State was making mistakes, Julian Sayin. And then Arch Manning looked very rough in his first start. Just kind of what I expected. I know a lot of people kind of expected him to hit the ground running. I wasn't so sure. I kind of thought it would be tough, especially going up against the reigning defending champs, Ohio State. And yeah, Arch Manning did not look good. This game didn't look good, to be honest with you. Again, it was a defensive slugout. Game ended 14-7 in favor of Ohio State. So, just a defensive game was good if you like defense,
Yeah.
not so good if you wanted interest beyond that.
I took, I think, my first real dive into college football this weekend. I watched multiple games with people that have been watching college football a lot longer than I have, and have true fan bases within the sport, not just a fan of competition. Like, and the thing that I kept hearing was that like college football is just so much more interesting than the NFL. It's more exciting, and what I kind of realized was it tends to be a more offensive led game. They tend to rack up more points. There's a lot more scoring, things like that. So in that sense, it is more interesting. So when I think you have those lower scoring games, which are defensive juggernauts, I think that tends to be more interesting from an NFL mindset
Yeah,
rather than a college football one. Um, I I enjoyed the Texas Ohio State game. I would like to remind everybody, just calm down.
yeah, that's probably.
Like, I know his last name is Manning, but he's a kid and he's getting his first start. Like,
Or his first
let's
meaningful
just
start.
chill. Yeah, his first meaningful start. Like, I'm not saying there's no talent, but the hype and the expectations don't do him any favors. Like, we have no way of knowing what he's going to be. There's hope of what he's going to be. There's glimmers of talent, but we need to chill.
Yeah, we need to.
Let him develop into whatever that's going to be. I do not think he's the number one overall pick if he came out the draft tomorrow.
But I don't
That's
think he's
unrealistic.
coming out of the draft tomorrow. So I don't think he's coming out of the
But he's
draft this
got
year.
time.
Is really what I'm trying to say.
The Manning family announced that he was going to stay at least 2 more years
Yeah, I think he's going to go through his
because he
eligibility.
needs to develop.
He needs to play games.
Like, we saw, right, what happened when you didn't get development, when you don't play any games, what that looks like. And that person just lost his job to Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
So let's just settle down.
Next game we'll talk about is the LSU Clemson game. This was a pretty interesting game. Clemson was in the lead for most of it. LSU does get the comeback in the fourth quarter to win 17-10. I kind of thought this would be another really interesting game, another defensive game, so I wasn't really surprised by the score being a little lower. But it was a great game. Cade Klubnik and Garrett Nussmeier, the two quarterbacks, both kind of showed why they are kind of talked about as being two of the better quarterbacks in college football. Klubnik didn't have a touchdown, did have an interception, but I still thought he played all right. And I see the talent there. And then Nussmeier, I thought, played really well towards the end of that game, especially in that fourth quarter to lead his team back. That is a very big notch there for him. So I thought this game was really good, especially with the fourth quarter comeback. We always love those.
Yeah.
So another good game there.
I did not watch that one, but it was a good game. It was a good game.
One that I definitely watched all the way through was the Alabama-Florida State game. This game was on. I watched this one. I think it's one of the bigger upsets of the week.
Yeah.
Alabama losing 17-31 to Florida State is pretty monumental. You don't see that from Alabama a whole ton.
I watched that game live with a die-hard Alabama fan. And when I say
tough.
die-hard, I mean they were born and raised in Alabama. And Nick Saban is kind of the god of football. And to watch this game with a person like that is its own experience. Because when you don't have a dog in the fight, right, you're just kind of analytically watching football. You're just seeing how things go, what teams do well and what they don't. And then on the other side, you're quite literally leaving the life leave someone. Um, I thought the game was interesting. I know Alabama's intensity for offense and what they should be able to do, and that was definitely not represented.
Oh well. Well,
um,
I have questions about that offense. Um, Purely just because of who's
Go ahead,
running that offense. Um, we saw a very
Kalen DeVore.
Ryan Grubb is the
You mean the offensive court? Um,
which his offense at Washington worked, but his offense in Washington worked because he had Michael Penix and 3 NFL receivers. And I do mean 3. All
yeah,
3 of his receivers were taken before the 5th round, I want to say. So you have 3 legit NFL receivers plus Michael Penix. You can throw the ball a lot. That offense will work. When you go to Alabama and you can't develop a run game, and your run game looks like shit,
yeah.
the offense is going to struggle. And that's what happened. We saw a very similar situation in Seattle under the same offensive coordinator. I am talking about Ryan Grubb. And watching this game, I kind of saw the same things I was seeing in Seattle that led to a pretty
Led to those problems.
below average Seattle offense. So
Offense.
I'm not loving what I
Yeah,
saw from Alabama's offense.
it was definitely interesting. I They definitely struggled offensively. I don't think they can stop the run to save their lives on a defensive front. That got them multiple times. I don't know in the NFL, right? You kind of give grace to week one. That doesn't appear to be the case in college football. And I understand that with fewer games and the way that their postseason is set up, that 1 or 2 losses can keep you out of the playoff. Um, but that many issues, I don't know if that can be overcome this season.
I I also think it's important to note in Nick Saban's entire tenure with the Alabama, um, he lost 4 games against unranked teams. And mind you, he was the Alabama head coach for a very long time. Since Kalen DeBoer took over, which was last year, was his first full year, and then the start of this year, he's lost 4. So they have the same amount. Kalen DeBoer has been the coach for a year and a game. That is the kind of perspective we're looking at. Is this Alabama team is, I don't think, well coached. You can kind of just see in their run game, in how they stop the run, they're just not a toughly coached team.
And you could see it watching the sideline during that game. I understand that with NIL, there's kind of a different perspective on how kids should be coached. You can't really scream and throw shit the way you used to be able to. But there was a complete lack of passion from the coaching staff. There seemed to be no effort to get the guys upset at what was happening, what the way this was going. There was just a calm that is fine to a point,
But also,
but at some point you have to get mad. At some point you have to want it. And that moment never seems to come.
yeah, it doesn't seem like an Alabama football team is really the problem. Looking at it, it's not giving Alabama, who's been a storied franchise and is one of the best college football teams of all time in terms of just what they've done, and this just doesn't feel like an Alabama team.
Yeah. As someone that was I think genuinely watching college football for the first time because I've had games on, I've watched it, but I've never paid active enough attention. I went into that game with an expectation of what Alabama football was going to look like, and it fell extremely short.
Yeah, it just wasn't
And
a
then
good game.
I had to ask, I was like, is FSU a good team? And I was laughed at.
They were
So,
they won 2 games last year.
that's pretty insane.
So yeah, it's um yeah, they weren't good last year. That doesn't really mean much in college football. You never know what's happened. They did bring in Tommy Castellanos, the quarterback, in the transfer portal. He wasn't there last year. I think that made a big difference. Their quarterback last year was not very good. Um, so I do think that made a difference. But yeah, FSU historically is up there, but last year not great. So
Yeah.
just a little context there. Um, One of the last games we'll talk about is the Sunday game between Notre Dame and Miami. This was two top 10 teams going against each other. I thought this game was really good. Um, 24-27, Miami gets the win in Miami, so it was a tough place to play for Notre Dame. Um, I thought Miami looked fine. I thought Carson Beck looked fine. I didn't think he was doing anything spectacular on the field, but he was making good throws, making good reads. On Notre Dame's side, I thought they had a very poor game plan going into the game. Um, for anyone wondering, I'm kind of a Notre Dame fan. I've kind of been a Notre Dame fan my whole life. It's not where I go to school, but it's kind of who I root for in college football a lot. And I just thought this game plan did not fit Notre Dame. They have Jeremiah Love, who, in my opinion, is the best running back in football or in college football right now. And I'm not really sure it's close. And for him to get, I want to say, 4 rushing plays in the first half is terrible, especially when you have a quarterback in his freshman year. Um, I thought that was a genuine point of concern for me of what are we doing with scheming wise there.
Yeah.
I thought Notre Dame's game plan was just wrong. Um, but credit to Miami, I thought they still played great. That defense was doing really well. Again, Carson Beck didn't look spectacular, but was doing enough. And then I can't remember the receiver's name, but that touchdown catch, one-handed, was spectacular. That is going to be up there for catch of the season, in my opinion. Um, if he doesn't catch that, it's an interception. So you turn a touchdown, you go from what would have been an interception to a touchdown with a spectacular one-handed catch. So that was really cool. Again, just kind of a not great game for Notre Dame. They were in it. They do have a rookie, I say rookie, a freshman quarterback. So this was kind of expected, but also I thought the game plan in place was not great.
I caught little snippets of this game, not a whole ton, not enough to give an opinion on.
Yeah.
The
I
only other game I watched was Tennessee Syracuse.
Okay. And then the last game I watched um, was the Monday night game, which was TCU versus North Carolina. Um, Obviously showed up
And that one,
for Bill Belichick and to see how he did. Um, Thought that first drive went great for North Carolina. Thought they looked great,
went really well.
and then
It was downhill after that.
TCU gets the win,
Downhill after that.
48-14. I don't. This did not seem like a Bill Belichick coach team. I'm just gonna be honest. It did not seem like a Belichick coach team. The missed tackles for North Carolina were bad.
Yeah, yeah. I I had real concerns. his ability to coach at that level, the people he brought in, and the way he would run an organization, whether or not that would translate to college football. And the way he has coached for a very long time, and whether or not that can be translated into today's college football. As of right now, it does not look like it. I'm not saying this is the end all be all, right? I do still think week one, see what happens. But like you said, the first drive was incredible. It was like, holy crap, this is what it can be. And then it was a train wreck.
Yeah,
on every side of the ball.
It just was not good. It just wasn't good. It just wasn't a Belichick. It didn't look right.
No. I think if you put that game on TV, gave nobody any like concept, and then asked who coached that team, nobody would think.
Bill Belichick.
Nobody would think that Bill Belichick had anything to do with that organization.
Yeah. So that one was tough. That one was tough to watch. But yeah, like there's just not a ton to say there. TCU kicked the shit out of them. So
yeah,
I guess we'll see if they can right the ship there. I don't know. I'm not too confident in that.
Not.
So
they weren't a massive football powerhouse to begin with. And I'm just not sure that those things translate.
Yeah. I think that was all the games I watched from this week.
Yeah, the only other one I watched was Tennessee-Syracuse. Tennessee did get out the win. I apologize. I do not remember the score of that game.
45-26.
There we go. So it was a good game. I'm not comparing like one to the other. I want to be clear. It's just kind of what it felt like. Was like watching the Ravens play the Jets. Kind of how it felt.
Yeah.
Like it didn't seem like they belonged on the same field. I don't think that Tennessee was as good as it looked. Like there were a lot of missed opportunities in terms of offensively being able to keep the ball moving. Defensively, they struggled against the run and breakup. So I'm not sure that Tennessee is a great team, but Syracuse is not a good team, and that was really clear.
Yeah.
So
Syracuse is not historically a good football team. So
it was a good game. I enjoyed watching it. I think if Tennessee wants a playoff run, they've got a lot of things to clean up. You can play like that when you play bad teams, when you play contenders or ranked teams. That's not going to work out.
Yeah.
So
that tends to be
good
Tennessee
game. I enjoyed it
in a nutshell.
But that's what it looked like watching it. Again, when you don't have a dog in the fight, and that was another one. I had a Tennessee fan yelling the whole game.
Noted. Yeah,
so,
that's cool.
It was an interesting weekend. It was an interesting introduction, genuinely, to college football.
Yeah, nice.
Was watching with these fans. It helped kind of stay focused on the game, and it helped be able to ask a little bit more of the things I didn't realize I didn't know. and we're coming up.
Yes.
And the things that I had to clarify because I come with an NFL background, so I'm trying to understand the differences and the rule differences, things like that. So I
Fair
think it
enough.
helped watching with genuine fans of these teams, me engaged.
Yeah. No, that does help. Um, I did technically watch another game, but I went to it.
Okay, yeah,
I
that's
went
fair.
to
Yeah,
my
that's fair.
I
Yeah,
went to my college's first game.
yeah.
We got killed. It was not good.
It didn't go well. It
No,
didn't.
it was.
I had that game up at dinner, so I kept looking at
Let's just say we left early. It,
it. Yep.
I almost left before the only good thing that happened
Yeah, so that would have been a bummer.
because
But
I was convinced we just gave up a touchdown
yeah,
and was walking out of the bleachers when the flag was thrown. So, but yeah, if you ever, that's always fun. Not great,
that's fair.
not great, but
Not great. Not great.
I still like going. Probably go this weekend still. It's fun,
Yeah,
but
it's still a great experience. You know what I
and
mean? It's still sports. It's still
being in the student
the
section is
camaraderie
pretty
of
cool.
college football.
Being in the student section is pretty cool.
It's just not a good team.
But yeah, we suck. we suck. It's not gonna
All
get better.
right.
It's just not gonna get better.
There's just no.
There's no hope. But we still go. We still hang out.
Sport. All right. Well, then we will take it off to the NFL, which I know is what a lot of our listeners are probably waiting for us to talk about. I think some breaking news happened. I think
I
some
think so.
things over the week
Yeah.
since we did
Let's
our
see.
last pod might have happened.
Yeah, I see Luke Gyodke signed a new contract with the Tampa Bay Bucks, a 4-year, $90 million deal.
That's very exciting.
That's a good deal for
That's
him.
crazy. That's
Um,
that's
a,
some definitely headliner news.
a
Right.
defensive tackle, Dwayne Carter, is going to miss the entire season with a torn Achilles for the Buffalo Bills. It's really shitty, really unfortunate.
Injuries. That's a bummer.
Injuries suck. The Cowboys agreed an extension with one of their best defensive players. Deron Bland
Oh
is
my God!
returning
Did
to
they
the team.
really?
Deron Bland is returning on a 4-year, $92 million deal. Yeah. So
That's crazy.
I'm
Did
glad.
you know the Cowboys like to draft, develop, and pay their talent?
Yeah, I'm really glad
So it's
that
good to see that happens.
they got ahead of it and got this guy re-signed. Speaking
Yeah,
of the
early
yeah, got him re-signed
for any
early.
drama.
Speaking of the Cowboys, as most of you probably already know, they traded Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers. The Packers then signed him to a 4-year, $188 million deal, with $120 million fully guaranteed, making him the highest non-paid quarterback. In the trade, going to the Cowboys is Kenny Clark, the defensive tackle, and 2 first-round picks. They are a 2026 and a 2027. Not sure what the Cowboys are doing. Just
I said before the draft trading. Well, I think that's the wrong move from an organizational standpoint. You have already fucked up. You've already put yourself in a terrible position. You've made Dak the highest paid quarterback. You paid CeeDee Lamb a lot of money. You are staring down the barrel of a contract that makes three players account for about 75% of your cap space. It's ridiculous. It's a terrible position to be in from a financial and organizational perspective. Ridiculous. So I said trade him. Because while I think you've made terrible decisions up until this point, unfortunately, this is now where you are.
This
This
is
is
your
where you're at.
options.
However, to wait
Till a week before the
until
season.
after the draft, after training camp, a week before the season, you limit your return, the options for teams that he could go to. So now he's gone to the team to beat you in the playoffs.
And
That's pretty insane.
a conference rival, someone you play this season.
The Ravens, Chiefs, and Bills do not trade players to each other. That's not what we're doing out here.
Well, I mean, technically the Bills made the trade that got the Chiefs Patrick Mahomes, but semantics.
Didn't know that was going to. It's now created that dynamic.
Yes.
Wouldn't do it now. It's ridiculous. It's insane. You've taken a franchise, the richest franchise in all of sports, valued at over $10 billion, that decided, and he said publicly, right, that it's somewhat about football, but it's also about the news. And if they weren't in the news, he wouldn't put them in the news.
And being a soap opera.
So what you've done is you've hired the most unexciting head coach on the planet. A quarterback that is mid-tier, not exceptional, not terrible, but he's a good quarterback, and he's a decent guy, so he tends to just stay. So the one thing that was drawing in headlines, right, was the kind of unhinged guy that gets on a podcast every week. And we've traded it. So at this point, as a non-Cowboys fan, as just a fan of football, right? I'm not even talking as a Ravens fan, I'm talking as a fan of football. What the fuck are you doing? What's the goal here? Is the goal to win? Because I can't believe that. Is the goal to be in the news? After this story, give me a reason to about the Cowboys.
Yeah, like
a single reason.
All you've done is make the Cowboys irrelevant. That's it. That's all you've done.
Exactly.
Like a week before the season, like for we've heard from a lot of Cowboys fans on their feelings about this trade, and like overwhelming sentiment so far is as a fan, training camp gives you this hope, this new feeling of football's coming back. It could be different from last year. You know, you have hope going into the season, and that starts from the beginning of training camp and grows until the first kickoff. What the Cowboys have done is a week before the season, when the fans' hopes are almost near the highest.
Their highest.
They've traded the best player, and one of the reasons fans' hopes are high. Because at the end of the day, if you have a elite pass rusher that is worth watching and worth showing up for, people are going to. Because you have a decent enough offense with CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott to function, and then your defense, as long as he's at his best, performs adequately to the point where you win enough games to make the playoffs and yada yada yada. At this point, you've traded your best player. That is the reason fans want to watch your team. And now that he's gone, you've taken that defense from adequate to, I don't even know, not good. And your offense isn't good enough to counteract that. they're like CeeDee Lamb's good, but CeeDee Lamb isn't drawing the fans and Dak Prescott isn't drawing the fans that Micah Parsons did.
Yeah. You're now looking at a C version of the Bengals
Yes.
of the quarterback and a wide receiver duo. It's just elite and a terrible defense.
But now you've
But
taken
Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb are not Joe Burrow
and Jamar Chase.
and Chase. They're not. They're like the C versions of that team. And they don't have the ability, I don't think, even with George Pickens as an addition, to put up the kind of numbers you will need to overcome your extreme defensive shortcomings.
And at least the Bengals have an elite pass rusher. Look at that now that they've re-signed
At least
him.
they got Hendrickson.
Like
The Cowboys, I understand Kenny Clark is a good D lineman, and he is supposed to help against the run. Great. You need quarterback pressure.
yeah,
Especially when you play in a division with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley
Jaden Daniels.
and James. Mobile quarterbacks' worst enemy is an elite truck.
With elite athleticism.
That's it. That's it. There's nothing else that brings Lamar to the ground like TJ Watt and Myles Garrett. That fucked up his day and the Ravens' day faster. When you have a mobile quarterback, an athletic, strong, in the legs quarterback, when you have a Jaden Daniels, who is tiny, wiry, and a little jitterbug back there, you need an elite pass rusher. That's the only thing that's going to fuck up their day. That's the only thing.
Yeah,
So how are you supposed to compete in your own division when the Giants' D-line has gotten better, their O-line has gotten better, they've drafted well at the running back spot? How are you supposed to compete in your own division, let alone your conference, for a playoff spot? When you have B's or C's at quarterback and wide receiver, and no defense to speak of. What's the team supposed to be excited about? What are the fans supposed to be excited about? I can't think of a reason to watch them from anything. And I know that they're America's team, right? And they got the star, and it's all very flashy. But like they become irrelevant in the snap of a finger.
Yeah, and it's not even like, okay, if you did this trade at the deadline, mid-season, you at least got half a season of true, like, interest. Or if you did this at the draft, people would be more looking forward to who's developing behind him, this new era of Dallas football. Now it's just, what are we supposed to do? Like,
and I know that Micah's hurt, right? He has the sprain to the two lumbar in his spine. One, I want to be really clear. They knew before trading. So they were aware that he had problems. But at least then, if you had waited, right? If you had gone mid-season and been like, see, he's not playing, he's not contributing. Maybe we have hope, like based off how the team is doing. We've seen a replacement. If you're going to be a soap opera, not a winning franchise, fine.
at least develop interest in your team.
But then do that.
be
You should have
interesting.
hired Deion Sanders. You should have drafted Shador. And then you should have traded Micah or Dak. Those were your options. You want to be a soap opera, be a soap opera. But do it well. At least give me a reason to talk about the soap opera.
Yeah.
If you're going to be a franchise, let's maybe make sense.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense like at all. But you know, it's the Cowboys. It's Jerry Jones. He just doesn't make sense. Simple as that. Um,
I understand. I really do understand trading.
I do. I get it. I don't understand trading him a week before
It
the
was
season.
just a better time.
There were
No.
so many better. Like this is the worst time to do it. The worst.
And then I'm genuinely confused about who you traded him.
That too.
Like
the only thing worse would be trading him to like the Eagles, the Commanders, or the Giants.
the
Like
Giants.
in your division
Yeah.
would
But
be
to
the
trade him to a competent conference team that was the last team to beat you in the playoffs, and that, in theory, not even in theory, in reality, wildly underperformed last year because who's supposed to be their next, superstar quarterback was hurt for a good portion of the year.
Mhm.
No, this team is already expected to be a playoff team. They're already expected to compete for their division, and then you just gave them your best defensive player.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
At least trade him to the AFC. Make that their fucking problem.
Yeah. Give him to like I don't know the Bills or the Ravens or I don't know who else in a conference really needs him.
And
The
by the way,
Chiefs.
in a conference where you're still dealing with TJ Watt, Garrett, Chris Jones,
Like there's a
the
lot of
Ravens,
scary defenses.
like you give him to one of them, make him their problem, and then you don't have to deal with it, except maybe once every 4 fucking years. Then if you meet in the Super Bowl, you would have to get to the Super Bowl, which we've seen that track record. At least then you don't got to deal with it.
Yeah. And if you made it to the Super Bowl,
Now you got to deal with that week 4 if he can play.
yeah, it just stupid decisions. Just stupid decisions all around. So,
I don't understand.
on the Green Bay side,
And I don't know what's in the air in Dallas.
oh yeah,
Like what's
I don't know. Next thing you know, the Stars will trade Mikko Rantanen or somebody else for nothing. I don't think the Stars will because they just signed him to a contract and they just traded for him. But like, the point stands. The Wings will trade Bukers. Is that how you
Page?
pronounce her last name? I don't know.
Yeah, Page Bukers.
We'll trade Page for peanuts. I don't.
Crazy. I don't understand.
Sorry,
Confused.
sorry to the Dallas fans everywhere. For your incompetent organizations. At least the Mavericks.
I feel really bad for the people that live there.
At least the Mavericks got the number 1 overall
Like,
pick. The Cowboys aren't going to get the
they
number
got
1 overall
hope
pick.
back.
The Cowboys are going to be just good enough to not get it.
Probably. Because they do have a competent offense.
And there are teams that are just so much worse.
There are bad teams out there. There are bad teams.
So like,
This is just an incompetently run team. It's not quite the same.
yeah. For the Green Bay side, fair enough. Congrats on getting Micah. Should have probably waited to hand him that contract until you knew what the back situation was, but I mean, who cares? Like you
knew this was a possibility. You knew he was hurt.
And you got Micah Parsons. I mean, like,
Yeah.
And you really gave up nothing to get him. Like,
No.
you gave up an aging defender and two.
Basically, second round picks
If yeah,
and an aging defender.
assuming you're where we think you should be for the next few years, two late first round picks. Which in the
Yeah.
late first round, those are some magic beans. So who knows? You might draft another Micah Parsons, or you might draft a LJ Collier or a just not great edge
Yeah.
rusher that isn't going to do anything. So
It's a wild game.
well,
Yeah, congratulations to the Packers. As fans, I'm really sorry.
yeah.
I really am. The news broke me. I was confused.
The moment it broke, it was this moment of like, oh
That's not
shit,
real.
they did it. They actually did the dumbest thing possible. That was the actual reaction. Is they actually did the dumbest
Yeah.
thing possible. They traded him at the worst possible time in the season.
To a team
They play in
you shouldn't
4
be
weeks.
calling. Like a team you should not be calling.
So
So that's crazy.
choices were made. But
They were well already. Was there any other? It's hard to call anything else breaking news,
when that happens, yeah.
but
No,
is there any other?
we went through it all prior to it. I kind of like doing it last.
Yeah,
Um,
just
just
wanted
for
to make
fun.
sure. Then we will kick it to the Ravens, as obviously they had their final. I'm sorry, as we were in kind of the final week before the regular season. They did obviously the lighter practice squad. We've got offensive tackle draw Lichternham, Thomas Graham, Malik Ham, Tyler Huntley, Condre Jackson, Dearness Johnson, Kirkwood, Chandler Martin, Anthony Miller, CJ Okoye, Zaire Mitchell, Hayden, Jaden Penning, Marquise Robinson, Kalman Rucker, Nick Sam, Lucas Scott, Brent Urban. I had some guesses on people that were players that were going to be on the Ravens practice squad, and I kind of gave them, and it's immediately wrong. They got picked up by other players. It kind of gives me a little comfort. Is like I was like, I think they're good enough. The Ravens would have wanted to keep them. They were just also good enough that other teams had spots
Wanted
for
them.
them on their team. So congratulations to them. Hopefully that goes well. But that is the Ravens practice squad. The only thing that surprised me um, was Malik Cunningham not making the practice squad. I was a little surprised that he was left off because I know he was not picked up by another team, and the Ravens have put the last couple of years into attempting to develop him into a wide receiver. So a little shocked at that. But other than that, solid, solid practice squad, good O line depth, good wide receiver depth, definitely some cornerbacks. Tyler Huntley doesn't shock me, especially the way Devin Leary played in preseason. So, and I am excited to see Brent Urban return, even if it is on the practice squad. I do think he adds a positive energy to that team and to that sideline. So I'm excited for that. As for practice this week, obviously things are a little different now that we're going into the actual season. There's less media availability in terms of just practice. John Harbaugh has, as always, before the first week of the season, said that he is going to be extremely tight-lipped on injuries. Um, as of yeah, because like a fuck. Um, as of Monday's practice, there were only 3 people missing. Isaiah Likely, who's still out with his foot. Jair Alexander, who hasn't practiced since the 9th with a knee injury. Coach Harbaugh does think he will be ready for week 1, but he'll know more today, hopefully. So when I do my week preview game, hopefully I'll know whether or not he's going to play. And Patrick Ricard, who's been missing for quite a while, still don't have answers on that. Still don't know what's going on. I know it is injury related, as he got a contract at the beginning of the offseason. So it's not like a holdout or anything. So hopefully we'll get a little bit more insight onto that as well before my preview video. But so far, kind of best case scenario injury wise, thing new going into week 1, we're likely nothing too scary. Whether or not those people will be available, I'm sure we will not know until that has to be officially announced, which is about a couple hours before. So, so fun being a Ravens fan. It's crazy how much information they give me.
This is why I hate that
Um,
McDonald is from the
other
Ravens organization. It's just not
they
fun.
don't
They don't tell you shit
they don't share.
unless they are required to.
Um, yeah, like they're like at some point we have to, right? Like that's John Harbaugh's thing, is right? Is there not an injury report that comes out? Did you not read it? What do you say? I'm like, bro, just couple other things, little things that have kind of come out the last couple weeks. There has been an exceptional note to kind of, I don't want to say a change, but rather a growth in Lamar's leadership. He's been far more vocal this off season, according to the team, and I think he has to be when you have the season he had last year, which was historic, by the way, in case somebody forgot, because you cheated out of the MVP. It's not important. It doesn't matter. Anyway, it was historic. They had a great team. Obviously, there were some complaints on my end about the O line, and then the defense, which they cleaned up. But when you play that well and you have that well of rounded of a team, you can't keep getting beat and losing in the playoffs the way you have been. Something has to change. Historically, every quarterback coach combo to the Super Bowl did so within their first 5 years together. Lamar and Harbaugh passed that point. Something has to change. I love Harbaugh. I think it's a really good combo between them. Something has to change. And if it's not going to be the coaching staff, then maybe it needs to be Lamar's leadership. Maybe we need to be more vocal. We need to be more aggressive. We need to demand better of himself and of the team in those moments. That's what matters to this team. That's what matters to the fan base and to the organization. Is what do they do in January? I hope that the changes he's made will translate to them. On a coaching note, something I found kind of interesting. The Athletic ran a survey asking, let's see if I can find the number. It was like 12 to 18 defensive-minded coaches, defensive coordinators, things like that, rank their top 10 offensive play callers. And Monken came in at number 7. Some people left him off the list, saying when you have Lamar and then Derrick Henry, if you fuck that up, that's a bigger problem than if you do well with that combo. Completely respect the opinion. Honestly, I do. I get it. A couple of people, because of why Monken was brought in, which was to develop Lamar as a passer and a quarterback, not just a running back that snaps the ball. Had him listed at number 1. I think that's a little over-credited. I think he's been great. I've been very happy with Lamar's development during this tenure. But also, let's chill. So when it was all said and done, he did come in at number 7. I think that's an appropriate place. I think it gives him credit for what he's done, what he's built, and how he has used talent, right? Because just having talent isn't good enough. Being able to use it, utilize all of their strengths, and get the best out of everybody, especially a quarterback that continues to be underrated. I do think it deserves credit, but calm down at number 1. Let's win a Super Bowl. Let's get to the fucking Super Bowl. Talk about anything else. All right, let's not have our quarterback throw a historically low number of interceptions and then throw 3 in the first half of the playoff game. Like, let's just try. 2-point conversion that they've been running their entire careers together, and we fuck it up. Like, let's just calm down. Let's win 2 playoff games in a year. All right, let's do that. Then we can talk about top 5. But till then, shut up. Shut up. I'm not bitter. It's fine. It's cool. I'm calm going into the season. Obviously, picture calm. I don't think that the regular season is just this tremendous torture that I'll have to sit through.
Yep.
Because they're going to lose some games, right? I don't expect them to go undefeated. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want them to. But it's not just this hell that I have to sit through until the playoff.
Just for them to lose in the first game?
Fine. Nice. And what is that? Why do they always have to play the team they lost to the playoffs to start their season in their stadium? Like, what is that? The Bengals get to play the Browns, for God's sakes. Like, come on.
I don't know, man.
I'm very excited for the start of football. I'm a little anxious. I'm very excited. I'm excited for this season, see what it looks like. But I don't know. I think only the Bills fans can kind of understand what I'm going through right now. Of I know we're a good team.
Yeah, okay.
I don't have questions whether we're going to be in the playoffs. What's my quarterback going to do? What am I going to win the division? I'm going to be honest with you. If there's any question of that, there's a bigger problem, and we'll see far more crash outs on the podcast this year. So won't that be fun?
I think it would be.
But I don't have those questions. All of my questions are months away. And football away. And I'm not saying things can't happen and that things don't happen. But right now, it's not false hope to assume they'll be vying for the number 1 seed in the AFC. To assume they will be favorites to go to the Super Bowl. For any of those things. You just have to do it. You have to do it. You have the talent. There's just something that happens in that second playoff game. The first one goes crit, right?
Well, the first
Goes
one's
crush
only kind of a playoff
whoever.
game.
The second one, it's like we all hit the field and go, what if we just don't? So I'm trying to stay calm, trying to stay positive. I am excited for a genuine note because I've been hearing that for years, right? But it seems that there is a genuine difference in Lamar's leadership. And maybe that's what they need. Maybe that'll be the thing. Fuck man. Just do something.
Fair enough.
So with all of that being said, go Ravens. And we will kick it over to the Seahawks and Brendan.
All right. The Seahawks haven't done a whole ton. They did finalize their practice squad. Their initial practice squad includes Quinn Bohanna, Tyrone Broden, Anthony Campbell, Jalen Gaines, Shamar Jean Charles, Amari Kite, Talomea, Federico Merenges, Damian Martinez, Patrick O'Connell, Brandon Peely, Jarrett Reed, Jeremy Sheriff, J.R. Singleton, Anthony Tyus, Ricky White, and Jacardier Wright. However, the Seahawks have made a lot of moves to their practice squad and a move to their 53-man roster, which is a little interesting. Kind of didn't expect them to do that. A couple of the moves to the practice squad, they signed Courtney Jackson and Pooh Paul to their practice squad. And released Jalen Gaines and Anthony Tyus. So Jalen Gaines, the linebacker, and Anthony Tyus, the running back, are being replaced by kick and punt returner and a linebacker. So there's two changes there to the practice squad. Some more changes occurred yesterday. They released. They signed. Oh, let's do this in order. So they made a change to the 53-man roster. They're bringing in Chaz Surratt, a linebacker from the 49ers, for linebacking depth, and they're waiving D'Anthony Bell. D'Anthony Bell cleared waivers and is signed back with the practice squad. They moved Satelo Lamea off the practice squad to make room. So that's all good there. And then yesterday, they re-signed Satelo Lamea, Jalen Gaines, and Anthony Campbell, who were all moved to make room for other guys. In return, Damian Martinez, Amari Kite, and Shamar Jean Charles has been replaced. That all happened yesterday. And then some more clarifying details. They hope to bring back Martinez and Charles to the practice squad. It seems that they brought back Lamea, Gaines, and Campbell as a hey, this is the last week before the season. How about you get a small payday for actually being on somebody's practice squad? And then they'll release them and bring back the people they want on their practice squad for the season. Is kind of what I'm assuming is happening. Seattle tends to do this a lot. They like to take care of the players that were with them throughout training camp, especially if you impressed or were doing good things, but you just weren't quite good enough. They do tend to take care of these players, try to get them onto the practice squad. If they're on the practice squad, maybe get some elevations. They did this last year with Jaron Hall, the quarterback. They elevated him for game day just so he had that pay increase for a couple games. This is just something Seattle does. So expect a lot more of these kinds of things to happen where the practice squad is going to be an ever-evolving thing where people are probably going to get taken off of it, added onto it. Just kind of take that for what it is. If someone gets released that you really like, chances are they're not going to be released for very long. That's really that. That was pretty much the news with the Seahawks. They did not do a whole ton. It's been a very uneventful week for the Seahawks. You've just kind of been going about our business. I have no injury updates because Mike McDonald is a Ravens product,
Yeah.
and unless they are required to release it, they aren't. So we are going to get an injury update, like an injury report today at some point. This is the first day they're
Yeah.
required to produce one. I have no idea when that's going to happen, but I'll talk more about injuries when I do my preview. But
Preview video.
that's pretty much it. It's kind of just waiting around for this weekend. It's kind of nice to have this week to settle in, get ready, but it's also a little boring. I'm gonna be honest. It's just like this.
It's
I just want it.
and it's like I feel like it's one of the most anxious weeks of the season
Yeah,
because technically we have football tomorrow,
but it's not. It's not our game. It's just
but until like our first game kicks off, like until I get Ravens football for the first time, it's just a shell of like I'm just anxious. I just want it, and I have the joy of waiting
until Sunday night.
until Sunday night. I feel really bad for the people that play Monday night, but having to wait till Sunday night already feels like an eternity.
Yeah.
And fall on tomorrow. It's just not gonna
Mm-hmm.
be my team.
Yeah. At least I get Sunday afternoon, so you know.
Do you play in the
I think I play in the second block. I
later
honestly
window?
have not looked. I think it's the second block. For the Seahawks.
Yeah,
Normally
I
they are. Yeah, they're in the second. Who plays Monday?
I'm just Eagles
Vikings.
Cowboys.
No, Vikings and Bears play
Oh,
Monday.
Monday. I thought you meant Thursday.
Thursday is Eagles Cowboys, and then Chiefs Chargers are Friday. Cool. All right, cool. Yeah, yeah.
And then all the Sunday games. Ravens Bills is Sunday night.
Yeah, and then Vikings Bears on Monday. So feel bad for them. Feel bad for them having to wait,
Yeah.
especially Bears fans. You know what I mean? Actually, both teams because they both have
Honestly, both teams, because like
so
Vikings
many
are rolling out
McCarthy.
a new quarterback. The Bears are waiting to see kind of the offensive genius
Head
in Ben
coach.
Johnson and what this team's going to look like now. It's a very like I mean it is a true just season kickoff for so many teams, so many fan bases, and the anxiety is overwhelming.
Yeah. Well, again, Seahawks. They just play in the afternoon. Gotta wait a little bit, but not too long. Just kind of hanging out. Again, their news has been so limited this week. It's been kind of
Oh
boring.
yeah.
Like I don't even know. Just kind of been hanging out, waiting.
The only luck I had with news was the story out of the Athletic. And I was like, okay, but it's a hardball system. This week they're extremely quiet.
And yeah, it's been extremely like I don't even know if they've posted like any hype things yet. It's been I don't know what they're doing. They've just been kind of quiet. So
The Ravens don't. Like this week, they stay extremely locked in.
there's one thing.
If they'll put out their episode of Wired next week, and that's it.
Yeah, normally Seahawks put out like some hype things. I do realize there's one thing I forgot to talk about. The Seahawks released their new jerseys, the rivalry jerseys. Um,
Mm.
if you haven't seen them, go check them out. I'm on the fence about them. I think I have to wait. I don't think the like shooting of the videos and the like hype thing was done well. Like the lighting,
Okay.
something
Oh.
something tells me they'll look better on the field. But until then, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Don't know how I
We'll
feel about
see
them.
it.
They're just fine, really. Um, if you're a fan of college football, they look like an Oregon Duck jersey. Is pretty much what I feel like right now. Um,
Yeah.
it's just I don't know.
Yeah, they look like the Ducks.
It's just like again, they're fine. I really love the helmets. I think the helmets look really nice.
The
But
helmet is really nice.
I think the jersey is just too black. Like
It's so simple.
yeah,
It's like
like the 12s and the
it's really
number.
simple.
The 12s like in the number is a
Yeah.
nice touch, but that's
But
it.
like it's just I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess we'll see.
Um, those
Do
other
you know when they're going to wear them?
yeah, they released a schedule. I have no idea. The problem is I can't remember.
Gotcha.
I think Seattle might wear them multiple times or just once. Because the problem is all of the NFC West teams are going to wear them, and every NFC West team wears them in a game against Seattle. So I don't know if Seattle is wearing them in all of those games or just one. Is really the problem.
Gotcha.
Um, I'll
That's
find
fair.
out what week. I know when they're doing these jerseys, the throwbacks. I know when they're going to wear these. They'll be wearing them
Okay.
against the Buccaneers on week 10, I think. Let me double check that. I want to say Buccaneers is week 10, but I might be. No, week 5. Oh my god. I'm bad. What the hell do we play on week 10? Week 10 is the Cardinals. Maybe that's who we play against when we use our rivalries, is the Cardinals.
Gotcha.
That would make sense. Um, but yeah, I don't really care about jerseys that much though. So, but that's
That's
pretty
fair.
much that was the news. Is they released their new jersey, and it's kind of just eh. I think the rivalry jerseys as a whole are kind of cool. Like, I don't love teams just doing like black because that's I think been really common right now.
Yeah.
So I think the Jets did it, the 49ers did it, I think the Rams did it. Just going black, I think it's kind of boring. I love the Cardinals. I'll give them a shout out. I think those look sick with the like dusty pattern and the like alternate logo. I think really nice.
Yeah.
The Bills, I'll give the Bills credit. They're all whites with the blue trim. Look
Hmm.
really nice.
Solid.
I'm trying to think of who else did one, and now I can't think. But as a whole, I think they look pretty good. So
Nice.
there's that.
I feel like you and I were opposite because last year when the Ravens launched their new, I liked the uniform.
But not the helmet.
Don't like the helmet.
I think I don't think the purple helmet works.
I like the purple. I don't hate the purple. Don't like that logo.
Oh, the logo.
Don't like that Raven.
That's fair. That's what it was.
I don't mind the matte purple. Like I don't mind the matte. Um, but it's the Raven logo that I don't love.
Yeah, Seattle didn't change their logo. I mean, they changed it for this jersey. It's the old school, but
Yeah,
that's fine. I actually prefer this logo to their new one. In my mind, I don't know. I just think it looks nicer. But
that's fair.
again, that's the news.
Yeah, the
I'm talking about jerseys.
nice.
I don't. We're talking about
I mean,
jerseys.
the Ravens announced their uniform schedule of when they would be wearing the all black and the purple rising.
Seattle probably did. I just
But
didn't care. Like again, I what jerseys they wear when doesn't matter to me. It's just
no,
whatever. The only reason I know they're doing this one
I
against the
think.
Buccaneers is because the Buccaneers are wearing the creamsicle ones. So we're doing like the two teams that are both 50 years old this year are doing a like throwback together.
Well, the Bucks never win the creamsicle game, so maybe that's something to look forward to.
Uh, the Bucks are scary this year though, in my mind. So I guess we'll see.
They are. They're good.
I think that's the first.
There's something about those damn jerseys.
I think that's the first real test for the Seahawks though in the season. Yeah, it absolutely is. It's the first game that's like I feel like we're gonna lose that one, but we'll see.
It's
We'll see.
obviously I'll get more into it, but week one is not.
That's a
Not
that's,
looking forward to it.
that's a tough one. I'm
Well, it's an extremely underrated story, right? Because we talk about it with the Bengals because they always play terrible teams in the beginning. So, like when you lose to the Patriots last year, week one, it's weird. The Ravens actually often lose week one,
but they also play good teams.
but they play really good teams in their home state, right? Played the Chiefs last year and a fucking toe kept the win. Um, you play the Bills in their home stadium. It's
Yeah.
none of the Ravens starters play in preseason. It's hard to gauge. It's hard to know. Um, so it just we shall see.
Pretty much. The
It's a tough schedule this year.
Seattle's not bad. Having the 49ers first off in at home is a pretty nice get. Just with all the injuries they have. But it's also like the 49ers, so it's like maybe.
Still the 49ers.
And if we lose, I just don't want to have to listen to it. It's one of those. It's just it's the next game. It's week 2 that I feel like if we and I could see a way we lose that. If we lose that one, I'll be disappointed. But we'll see. We'll get all into all this later. We do the weekly previews for a reason.
Well, before we get too far down the rabbit hole, obviously being 27 hours away from football.
Yes.
No, sorry. 17 hours away from football. Let's unveil your quarterback,
All right.
which is just the current expected starters.
Yes.
For
it is week one. Week 1 starters. A couple just quick clarifying things and context for the rankings. Number 1, rookies get their own tier. They're not ranked with everybody else. I just kind of want to be fair to them. We've never seen them play in the NFL. We have no idea what they're going to be like. I'm not going to put them somewhere they shouldn't be.
Yeah, have no way of knowing.
And then, in terms of my rankings, I take these rankings with history and what I expect them to be this season. So this is how I expect this season to be in terms of who are the best, and I do that based off of prior history, but I really weight the last 2 seasons higher than like years down the road. So that's just kind of the context. We can get into it now. So obviously, I said the rookies were on their own, so we'll just start with those 2. I'm considering J.J. McCarthy a rookie. Sue me. I don't know. Like, he's never played a down in the NFL or like a legit NFL game. so he's a rookie.
Yeah.
And then Cam Ward, obviously, number 1 overall pick this season, so he's going to start in the rookie section. Obviously, I think those two are going to be higher than a lot of these people, especially the bottom section. I think they'll at least make it above them. But those are the only 2 rookies scheduled to make their starts. Nobody else from this draft class is going to. So now that that's out of the way, let's start. In the first category, we're going to go bottom up. In the first category, we have the shit quarterbacks. The category labeled shit. At the bottom of the list, I have Spencer Rattler. I think it's a little unfair, but truthfully, you have not shown me anything to be confident in you at all going into the season.
Yeah.
So, you're at the bottom of the list. Next up is Justin Fields. Again, last year you won 4 games, but you didn't look good in those 4 games. And truthfully, I don't see it with him. I don't see the starting quarterback ability. So I think he's going to be.
And the things coming out of Jets training camp are not so that.
Yeah. So I think he's going to be pretty much down there. Next up is Daniel Jones. Man, I don't know what to say about Danny Dimes. He's when Brian Daboll can't fix you. I struggle to say anybody can.
That's just what you are.
Yeah. So he's definitely bottom tier for me. Like, he's just not good. It's not it. And then last but not least is Aaron Rodgers. He's in the shit category. And again, as I said, I take history, but I focus on like the last 2 seasons. So his MVPs aren't really factoring into this situation. And in the last 2 seasons, he's been pretty terrible. Obviously had the ACL or Achilles, but even before that, wasn't looking good. And then last year with the Jets was not it. So I don't think it's going to get better with the Steelers, but I do think he'll at least be better than the other 3 in this category. Like, it's hard not to be.
Fair.
But in terms of this category, I kind of went into it with 2 of them are probably going to get replaced at some point during the season. I think Daniel Jones and Spencer Rattler both have somebody behind them that could take it. I'm not sure if Anthony Richardson will. There's questions there, but I think if it's going poorly enough, they will. And Spencer Rattler has Tyler Shuck behind him, so I think that is logical. The reason the other 2, I'm not having somebody replace them, is there's just nobody to replace them on their team.
There's nobody to do that.
So, yeah. On to the next category. The next one is just the meh quarterbacks. You're not good. You're not necessarily shit. You're just meh. At the bottom of that, at the bottom of that, I have Russell Wilson. I'm kind of excited to see what he does with Brian Daboll and see if he can kind of come back to the Russell Wilson we know back in Seattle. But based on the last couple seasons, I just don't think we're going to get there. He's just not that good anymore. He's another one that I have kind of as a candidate to get overtaken at some point during the season. That's really just because they have Jackson Dart waiting in the wings. And I do think at some point Jackson Dart will win this starting job this season. Not necessarily, but like get to start this season.
I think it would be different if the entire Giants organization wasn't on the hot seat.
Yeah. Next, I have Joe Flacco.
But
Joe Flacco is just kind of that perennial meh guy. So that's where we're at with him. Next, I have Bryce Young. Bryce Young for me has just kind of been meh. He did take a step last year. I need to see it again before I'm really convinced that you go above this spot. Like, there's just not. I was never convinced about the talent at Alabama. So there's just nothing there for me to like be convinced. Next, I have Caleb Williams. In terms of how they played last year, I would have had Bryce Young above him, but because he's getting Ben Johnson this year, because of the projections I can make towards possibly that offense being better, I'm going to rank him a little higher. But I'm still low on Caleb Williams. I still don't think he's going to be this great quarterback right now. If he proves me wrong, he proves me wrong.
I have real questions.
But I have questions about his leadership and his mental toughness. And currently, I've yet to be disproven on that. So, until I am, this is where he's going to sit. Next, I have Drake May. Drake May didn't play a whole ton last year, so I kind of just have him in this middle bucket of the meh because I just don't know. In what we saw, he looked good, but we just didn't see enough of it for me to sit there and be confident in putting him any higher than this. So this is kind of where he's just going to sit. Same with Michael Penix, very similar situation. Came in last season, didn't play a whole ton, but in the moments he did, I thought he looked good. So he's just going to kind of sit in this middle of the meh, where you can easily move up into good or great, but we haven't seen it, so kind of just waiting on that. Next is Trevor Lawrence. Some might think this is a bit low for him. Truthfully, I think he's just been meh his entire career. And there's not a whole ton for me to sit there and be like, yes, he has a new coordinator. Yes, they've got more weapons. But just past history is telling me, I don't know if it's going to matter. I just think he's meh. And I think this is top end of meh. Could move into good depending on how the season goes. I do think he has the right coordinator in place now for him to move up. But until I see him truly make steps in the NFL, I'm not going to trust it. Next, I have Dak Prescott. You could make the argument he's a good quarterback. Last year, obviously got hurt. And when you're coming off injury, I tend to be a lot lower on you. We saw it with Kirk Cousins, and we saw it with Aaron Rodgers. Coming off of a serious injury, they didn't look good. That's kind of what I'm projecting here for Dak Prescott, is a significant reduction in what he's able to do coming off a serious injury. Section, I have Kyler Murray. He's another one, and like the talent level is higher than meh, but that mental toughness and that want to be great, I don't think is there, and I think it holds him back, and I just don't know if he's a franchise quarterback. So I have him at the top end of meh because again, I think he's talented, but he hasn't shown me enough of like wanting it and being motivated and this mental toughness needed to be a truly good or elite quarterback. And then to round out, and then moving on to the good category, but this rounds out the bottom half of the NFL. I have Tua Tagovailoa. He comes in at 16. I do have him in good because I do think he's a good quarterback. However, he can't stay healthy. Injuries are a real concern with him right now. And that's why I have him at the bottom end. I almost moved him down to meh, but I kept him in good because I do think when he's on the field, when healthy, he is a good quarterback. But I have him in the bottom half of quarterbacks due to the health and concussion concerns moving forward. Next, I have Geno Smith. I think this is Geno Smith's spot right there. Top, or like in the middle of the pack, but still top half. I think he's a good quarterback. Obviously, last year with Seattle, there were some other issues, but the interceptions in the red zone were a big problem. Big problem. And that's why I have him lower down. I think going to Las Vegas, I'm not sure. Chip Kelly's a fine offensive coordinator, but I don't know if that offense is really going to be that good this year. And that's kind of why I have him lower down. Talent-wise, he'd probably be a little higher. But I don't know how much I trust that offense. And again, the turnover problems in the red zone especially are a huge concern. Next, I have Sam Darnold, the current quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks. he had a great season last year, but historically, he hasn't been great. So I was really struggling to find that middle ground with him of, is he this MVP candidate type player, or is he Sam Darnold on the Jets? Where are we at with that? I think he's kind of somewhere in the middle. He's a top mid-end quarterback. I think this offense will do him some help, but not as much as Kevin O'Connell's. I think Kevin O'Connell's a great play caller. I think this offense is very similar, just not Kevin O'Connell. Next, I have Justin Herbert. I think Herbert, again, talent, great. There's just something about him. He is the what if quarterback. There's always something to, like, what if this happened? What if? What if? Herbert has the numbers. He just doesn't have the playoff wins, the big time wins, the big time moments. And that's kind of where I have him as a bottom end quarterback right now. Next, I have Jared Goff. This might be a little low for Goff. I'm not convinced. There's something about him where, yes, I think he was very good, but he also had Ben Johnson. And I think this season, without Ben Johnson and with the situation happening in Detroit, I think we'll get a very good idea of who Jared Goff is as a quarterback. Is he capable of leading the Lions far? I still just have questions about it. So that's why he's a little bit lower than I think a lot of people would be willing to have him. Next, I have Brock Purdy. He's another one. I think he's middle tier, kind of top. But last year was not great. Granted, I think San Francisco had a lot of problems last year, but he just wasn't great. And obviously, he has led them to a Super Bowl. He has proven to be a good quarterback. So I didn't want to put him too low, but I think we're kind of seeing his limitations come to life when the 49ers aren't at their best. So I'm not sure if he's a product of them or if he actually is capable of being that guy for that offense. Next, I have Bo Nix. I thought Bo Nix had a great rookie season. He looked really good towards that back half. The front bit, not so great. That back half when Sean Payton started to really give him the reins, I thought he looked great. I'm really projecting him to be better this year. Do I think he's better than Brock Purdy and Jared Goff last year? But I think he's going to be much better this year and take a real step in his second year. So I have him higher for that reason. Next, I have Jordan Love. I just think Jordan Love is actually a good quarterback. Granted, he was hurt last year, but it wasn't like a major injury. So I'm not going to have him further down because of it. It's a little closer. I think he's great, so I'm going to put him in good. But he's somebody I think will take that step this year that we've been looking for him to take. And now that he has less pressure on him with what that defense is doing, and they finally got him a true number one weapon, I think we'll see this step from Jordan Love this year. So I have him a little higher. Next, I have C.J. Stroud. I think C.J. Stroud's really good. Did take a step back last year. It was a sophomore season. That offensive line was terrible. So kind of just seeing how he bounces back from last season. I think he'll bounce back, but just kind of have to wait and see if he can bounce back. Next, I have Baker Mayfield. I think he's just a fun, good quarterback. I think he does a lot for that team, and I think he's a key part of that team's success every year. Just his attitude and his ability, I struggle to put him any lower. He might not be the most talented, but what he does for his team goes beyond just being talented. And then the last in the good section, this is the player I had the most trouble ranking this year. Matthew Stafford. And here's a couple reasons. First of all, he had a fantastic 2 seasons ago. He was fantastic, MVP level. Last year, before the playoffs and the playoff run, he had his worst statistical season of his career. And everyone just seems to sweep it under the rug because of his playoff run. And I get it. You took the Eagles. You were the closest team to beating the Eagles last season in the playoffs. That is a fair thing to comment on. I thought the Rams were, and I thought he had a good postseason. However, he also has the back injury going into the season. So I'm just not sure what that's going to do. So instead of putting him in great, I moved him down to the top of good, expecting him to possibly be back to that level he was 2 years ago. But if he isn't, I would not be surprised. He was very much one that I just so much struggled to rank because there's so much going on with it. Is age catching up to him? Is that back injury going to be a problem? Is he really as good as we thought he was when he won the Super Bowl? Because that wasn't very long ago. Are there things happening here that are going to push him further and further down the list? I had the most trouble with Matthew Stafford. So I stuck him at the top of good. I think that's fair. I'm not sure if he's a great quarterback anymore. Just with age, injury, and performance last season. Moving on to the great category. First up, I have Jalen Hurts. Talent-wise, ability-wise, he probably doesn't deserve to be here. But he did just win the Super Bowl. Super Bowl MVP. Led his team there. And everything in Philly did kind of revolve around him in that Super Bowl in a way. Because Saquon Barkley couldn't get it going. It was Jalen Hurts that really took that offense over. Doing it on the ground, doing it through the air. I struggled to put him any lower than this just because of the Super Bowl and the success he had. That's where I was at with that. Next up, I have Joe Burrow. Now, this is lower than consensus on him, very much. A lot of people have him 2, 3, at lowest I've seen 4. He's currently, in my opinion, the 5th best quarterback in the league. He's one that we don't necessarily make excuses for, but we make excuses for. He has yet to really win anything himself. He did go to the Super Bowl, but he's yet to replicate anything close to it. He's missed the playoffs the last 2 years. And I'm starting to think he might be too reliant on Jamar Chase. The quarterbacks I have ahead of him, I don't think are reliant on any one player to be great. They are great on their own. I'm not sure if I'm great to elite on their own. I'm not convinced Joe Burrow is elite on his own. I think he's elite when you pair him with Jamar Chase, but I also think Jamar Chase is the elite of the elite when it comes to wide receivers. So I have questions if Burrow can do it himself. Now, obviously, I think he's uber talented, and I do think he's still a great quarterback. But I have him lower than the rest of these guys because I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that he can lead a team by himself to the playoffs. I think he needs Jamar Chase. I think he needs a defense that is somewhat competent. Now, again, that's not his fault. But if you can't overcome... At the end of the day, it's not his fault. But if you can't overcome having a subpar defense, I don't know if I can help you. You also missed the playoffs because you started the season slowly last year. That was on you. You started slowly. You were having rough games at the beginning. You lost games you should have won at the start of the season. And that's what kept you out of the playoffs. It wasn't your defense. It was you. So I still think he's great, but I struggle to put him in the conversation of the elites. Next, this is probably the hottest take of the whole list, other than maybe Joe Burrow. I have Jaden Daniels ahead of him. I think Jaden Daniels, with his rushing ability, and with the fact that he really did lead that Commanders team as a rookie with not Jamar Chase level weapons to the NFC Championship, which has never been done by a rookie, was going toe to toe with the Eagles for a while there. I think he's proven already to be an elite quarterback in this league, or a great quarterback in this league. I'm really looking forward to the season. He might be my pick to win MVP. So he's a little ahead of Burrow for that reason as well. Is I think he has a chance to really show and progress even further than he was last year and be an MVP level. All right. And then the next section, the last three, all elite, all great. You can shuffle them around as much as you want. It's just personal preference. I have Josh Allen next. I have him as the third best quarterback in the league. Obviously, we won the MVP last year. There were some questions there. I think he was deserving. Lamar also had an historic season. I do think Josh Allen had a great season, had an historic season, and was fantastic, and did deserve it. Whether he deserved it more than Lamar is the question. But I still think he's great. He's an elite quarterback. I do have questions with his playoff success, but I can say the same thing about the guy ahead of him. So it's tough for that. I'm just weighing two MVPs over one when it comes to these two. So Josh Allen is third, but he's elite. Next is Lamar Jackson. Again, as I said, I'm just weighing the two MVPs more than the one. The one is more recent, but I also think Lamar Jackson was deserving of the MVP last year. He had a historic season, had a great season, was fantastic. So there are questions with the playoff success, obviously. We can talk about all that we want. Dallas has talked about that extensively. There are genuine questions there. I think this year might be the year they squash those questions. Just everything I've heard from the Ravens, everything Dallas has said, it seems like this year might be a little different. Granted, I feel like we've said that the last two seasons, but this one does feel different. So that's kind of a little projection there. But there's that. And then last but not least is Patrick Mahomes. Pretty obvious. Even on a down season last year, he went to the Super Bowl. He's the most successful quarterback in the league currently. I find it very difficult to argue anybody but him for number one. So the resume speaks for itself.
Yeah. I'm going to start with the top three to give my thoughts. I think it's insane to have questions about Mahomes right now. I'm fundamentally confused by the conversation.
I don't.
What do you mean? Will he return to form? They were 15-2 last year.
They were 15-2. They went to the Super Bowl.
Like who cares if he has phenomenal stats? Lamar is putting up historic numbers. Josh Allen is putting up MVP level numbers. Guess who's in the Super Bowl? Mahomes. With an injured team, not putting up crazy numbers, not a true great number one wide receiver because either they're hurt or they're in jail. Like, who fucking cares what the numbers look like? The talent and the leadership and the team as a whole tell you he is a great elite quarterback, and he has the best resume of damn near every other quarterback in the league right now combined.
Yeah.
Combined, the rest of the NFL Okay, the rest of the NFL has 4 Super Bowl wins. He has 3. Like, by himself. What do you want? Like, what do you want?
Yeah, it, there was
He's
no question
he's a great quarterback. I don't like
for
him.
me.
I don't like the Chiefs. He's a great quarterback. Shut up. Mahomes and Allen is genuinely a coin toss. I do not think it is clearly one or the other.
Yeah,
And I think if you think that, you have extreme bias. I have extreme bias, and I can understand having Allen second, but I don't think it's a clean sweep of obviously he should be second.
I weighted trophy.
Or obviously it's Lamar.
I weighted the two. Like as I said, I think the two MVPs were the difference
Yeah.
for me because I think they are both fantastic players. I just gave Lamar Jackson the nudge because he's done it twice.
Yeah.
Like
You have 2 MVPs versus one. They're both at their core wildly talented. They have both had to develop an aspect of their passing game. Lamar's is strength, Allen's is accuracy. They both had to develop in that regard. They fall short in the playoffs. The thing that I think as a Ravens fan that gives me hope is the Bills play really well in the playoffs, but get beat. They look like themselves, they play like they're standard, they do all of these things, but they lose. The Ravens lose not looking like themselves. The team falls apart. So my hope and my belief as a Ravens fan and a fan of football is that if they can play like themselves, they don't get beat. Because that is the story of this era of Ravens football. The Ravens beat themselves. So I believe if they don't do that, they go to and win the Super Bowl. The Bills, I don't know how you get there. When you continue to play great football, just lose. So, just a difference in how I view it and what I see of these things. I prefer Lamar second. I think that's accurate. If you have Josh Allen in second, it's fine. If you can, it's insane to say it's obviously Allen at 2. I don't think that's the case. I think both of them have really great arguments, uber talented, and they're both fundamental to their franchise. I struggle the most with the good category.
oh, it was hell. It was hell.
Because I get it, like what you're saying, the things you say, and why you put them where you put them. I'm like, okay, I get it. I just,
It was hell. It was hell.
I, I, I don't think Jalen. Like, I want to flip Jalen and Stafford, but I get what you mean by
I
have
have
we is the best of Stafford in the past. And with that thought, I get it. I don't think Jalen belongs in great, but I get it. I really do. Um, yeah, Goff feels really low, but
Goff was the one that like
that
going through
final
it
game
felt low. But
when you like, I don't know that he has more talent than the people above him, and whether or not without Ben Johnson, what that will look like.
and that's
I think the only thing that genuinely my brain can't do it. I would flip and Kurt Murray.
You would flip who?
Dak and Murray.
The reason I had it is Dak coming off the injury. That was it.
Valid. Valid point.
And I said it. I think players coming off of injuries, especially the quarterback position, is tough. Like
He
having
tends to play well coming off an injury, but the second major one to the lower body does concern me.
like there's this, and especially the quarterback position, that mental trust in your body
Yeah.
is too important. So,
and that's fair.
I don't necessarily disagree that Dak's probably the better quarterback, but coming off the injury, I
You're
don't
just
know.
not sure if it's going to translate that
And
way.
Now that the Cowboys season is kind of shot,
Gone to shit?
I don't know. He could turn that into an opportunity to go prove to everybody that he can lead a team that has struggles, or he could just sit back and go,
or this could go very badly.
what am I supposed to do with this situation? Yeah, there's the middle
Other
section,
than that,
like from Goff to like Love, was a struggle to.
Yeah. But I like the list. I would have maybe done a probably gonna be replaced category.
That one was just tough because, like, I don't think the worst quarterbacks on here are going to be replaced. Like,
well, and that's why I'm like, I would have just made it its own.
Like really quickly,
like,
the 4 I think have the biggest potential of being replaced are Spencer Rattler, Daniel Jones, Russell Wilson, and Joe Flacco. Are really the 4. Because they're the only ones that have the quarterback. Like, I struggle with Spencer Rattler because I want to say Tyler Shuck is older than Rattler. But
he is.
At least he's a rookie that you don't know what you have. So it's. But that's the tough part.
Yeah, other than that, I like the list.
I like the list. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything I would change at this point.
You built it.
Well, like, even with like your comments, I don't know if I would change anything.
No, and that's fair. That's valid. It's just a couple things that I'm like, I struggle with.
Yeah. Stafford was definitely the hardest, though. Stafford was one. Because I think you're right. I think at his best, he's 4th or 5th. But are we ever going to see him at his best?
Like, if we look at just talent and what I think is capability, I flip him and Hurts. But yes. I do understand the notion of if the best of Stafford is in the past, maybe not.
And have we really seen the best of Hurts in a way? Like, he is still growing and developing.
Yeah.
And I do wait.
And he just won a Super Bowl, for God's sakes. Like,
and I'm waiting
I don't want to discredit him for that.
The MVP of that hire. Just because you did go out there.
You weren't able. It was not a Saquon Barkley game. He had to lead that offense.
It wasn't a Saquon Barkley game. It was defensively dominated, but it wasn't defensively dominated to the point where you were overshadowed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You still did enough on offense to.
Well, he still put up great numbers, a lot of points, like all of that.
And his rushing ability, I thought, really took over that game. With his ability to just extend drives. Because there was a couple where they had it 3rd down, and whether it was the tush push or him genuinely running, he was extending drives. So, I think that was important too.
And then the final thing I'll say, the last time the Chiefs got blown out in the Super Bowl, they missed the Super Bowl the following year.
Yeah.
So if this is the year, if Allen or Lamar is gonna break through,
It's got to be this year.
this is the moment. This has got to be the moment.
But yeah.
So
I'm trying to think. This was easier than I thought it was going to be. There was the section in the middle of the good where it's like you could
yeah,
literally flop any of them around and be justified.
and it would be okay.
And then Matthew Stafford were really what I struggled with. The Joe Burrow debate in my head was happening, but really it was just whether I put him up above Jaden Daniels. And I just prefer Jaden Daniels.
I prefer Jaden. I don't have the same questions currently. Like I have said for months, I had a take that had you on here calling me stupid. I don't know who Joe Burrow is without extremely talented weapons.
I don't even know if you
I
could go.
know who Mahomes is without a number one wide receiver, without explosive talent. I know who Lamar is without Derrick Henry, without Andrews, without a true number one wide receiver. I know who Josh Allen is without superstars at wide receiver. I don't know who Joe Burrow is.
Yeah, that was the one.
And like you said, there were games last year that he lost.
Especially early in the
Not
season.
your defense.
Because I thought earlier in the season,
him.
the defense was playing well.
Well, and when you're playing bad teams like Patriots,
Yeah.
the defense doesn't have to do a whole ton to be playing well. So you should be able to step up and get it going.
And then
I have real questions.
Yeah, I do. He's one.
So, I think this year will be a very interesting year for Jaden Daniels. We'll see if he takes a step forward or a step back. How the team does around him and how other teams do with now a year of film on him.
That's one.
Because
he's a rushing quarterback, I think it'll matter less. It's just one of those, like, because he's so athletic, I don't know if the tape is going to matter as much. But
sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. We'll see. I'm excited for a second year of him to see what he looks like and how he develops.
Yeah, I think really
it's a very interesting era at the quarterback spot.
Yes.
With so much young talent being at the forefront of good teams, relevant franchises.
Yeah, a lot of
the a really exciting time for football.
A lot of the older players didn't make it into the top half. Like really, your like true vets of vets, where Stafford made it into the top half. Goff,
technically.
Gino.
But that's pretty much it.
And then like your other vets of vets were Wilson and Flacco, and then Rodgers.
Yeah.
Like everybody else, I consider younger. I think they're all the ones that are under the or over the age of 30. Because I think Mahomes is still 29. Mahomes might be over 30 now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I do not think Mahomes is over 30 yet.
But that's like
he's 29.
But that's
Yeah, it's a great era for football.
it'll be interesting. There are a lot of people that could move up or down this list very easily. Um,
Yeah,
it'll be exciting to see. I think the mess section with the four or the three rookies last year, and then Bryce Young. I think they all have the most movability currently beyond like where they are. So be interesting to see. So super exciting. Super. Um, we'll do this again. Probably either going into the playoffs or midseason. We'll see what we decide. When that happens, I will do every quarterback that has started games. So if like someone gets replaced, I'll do the person that then started as well. So expect many more players to be on this list by the end of the season or
the next go around.
the next, um, especially with who we mentioned we're going to be replaced, and then obviously at some point an injury will happen. It's inevitable. It's shitty, but it happens.
It happens.
So pretty excited there. Pretty excited.
Awesome. Alrighty. Well, now that we've quarterback rankings, as we are going into first official week of football, obviously Brian and I will have our game previews for the Seahawks and the Ravens games. But sticking with last year, we also did a game of the week where we each pick a game not our team playing and try to watch that, focus on it, helps us stay engaged with the rest of the league, kind of know what's going on and how teams are playing.
And bring you.
Last year, bring you news on other stuff.
Yeah.
Um, Last year, I tried to pick the team the Ravens were playing next to try and know what that team was looking like. We will probably get there. I am not going to talk more about Browns Bengals, and I have to. That's pretty much the decision for this week. I'm not doing it. So I'm gonna watch the Broncos Titans game. I believe
I think they're in Denver.
they're in Denver that week. You get the rookie at Cam Ward. Unfortunately,
That's tough.
but all good thing, all of the hype that usually comes with being the number one overall pick has not been there for Cam because the focus has been Shador and all the other drama in the NFL. So I really just want to see what that looks like, what he looks like. I am also a Broncos fan. They're kind of my second love in terms of teams. So I want to see how Bo Nix looks. Second year in this offense, what looks like if we've opened the playbook a little bit. They play at 1:05 Pacific time. That is going to be my game of the week.
Awesome. Almost picked it just because it was Cam Ward. Really feel bad that he has to go up against that defense as his first start.
Yeah.
It's a little shitty. But
Yeah.
yeah. For my game, I'm going to go with the Monday Night Football game between the Vikings and the Bears. Get to watch Jaden McCarthy make his first career start. Get to see how he does. Get to see that Ben Johnson offense with the Bears. See what Caleb Williams does. See if he can progress with Ben Johnson. Should be really fun. Divisional matchup. Divisional rivalry there. So it's always fun to watch those. Just kind of excited. Ready to get back into football. Got to pick a decent game to do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I do. I think I'm hoping like I kind of did last year, but there were just weeks I was watching the same teams over and over, and the goal really is to broaden the viewing.
I'm
So that's kind of the
gonna make
decision making going into this year.
I'm gonna make a real conscious effort to watch a new team every week. Like, I feel like last year I was picking the Lions a bunch. I was picking good teams. and watching good teams. This year, I'm gonna try to make sure like a new team every week.
Yeah. And there's so much newness and change. Like, I do want to see what Justin Fields looks like. I want to see what this new version of the Jets are going to look like. I want to
Yeah.
see what the Patriots are going to look like. I want to know the Bears. I just want to see more. So I'm trying to pick different teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So should be really fun. Obviously, we'll continue doing this throughout the entire season. Um, we'll react to those games on the next podcast when they're done, and when we do that, we will obviously bring you our previews for the Ravens game and the Seahawks game. Those will come up later this week. Beyond that, I think that's all the next week news and the upcoming things. Was there anything else random news?
There was
Ooh,
actually.
ooh.
So in my, college football journey, and I also delved into some other sports, and a big one that's happening right now internationally is women's rugby.
Okay.
And those games happen very, very early. But I did watch France versus Brazil. Um, that was really unfortunate that the final score was 84-5 for France.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was possible. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you.
I
My understanding of rugby is basic. Like, I know the rules, I know how it works. I did not realize it could look like a basketball game in terms of scoring on one side, nothing on the other.
okay. That's
So that was interesting.
that
They
is
are coming to their championship time, so I will be watching a little bit more of it and seeing how that goes. But yeah, I did delve into women's rugby, and that's how it went.
fair.
84-5.
Fair enough. Honestly, fair enough. Also, I think I
Uh,
have some very, very sad news that has been released today. Red Zone will no longer be commercial free.
the fuck?
Yeah. Scott Hansen was on Pat McAfee, and I think he just confirmed it that there will be commercials in some capacity. Because he has
What is even the point?
because the new intro is now 7 hours of Red Zone football. Start now. So sad day for us Red Zone fans. Um, not great, not great. Um, yeah, that fucking sucks. That sucks a lot.
NFL Red Zone has been run as a limited commercial program since its inception. However, that is set to change as a full commercial break will be added in 2025.
Yeah. So I don't know what that means.
I'm pissed.
I'm hoping because there are the like lull moments in the show. Okay, there are the moments where nothing's happening.
There are. Nobody's doing anything.
So I'm hoping the the studio will be smart enough to like pick that moment as their chance to do commercials. But I am not looking forward to that. If that's the case, that is going to severely piss me off.
Scott Hansen says, "We're not going to sacrifice any great football. We will not miss a touchdown." Well, I just don't know that you can know that.
Well, they won't, because even if they do, they go back and show it. So I guess that's the
Like,
one nice thing. If a commercial happens during a game,
and I guess that's the thing now is like technically they do miss touchdowns now. Like you can't know. Like they try to be like, look, this team is driving, so
but
we're gonna focus on them. But things do happen,
like an 80
and
yard
they have to
touchdown.
go back. Yeah, or a pick
So
six or whatever.
it's not necessarily the worst thing to happen, but it is definitely not hearing the word 7 hours of commercial free.
Yeah, um,
Gonna be tough.
it's just you know, can we have nothing? Is nothing off limits?
No, just disappointing.
Crazy, crazy.
So we'll leave the show on a sour note with possibly the worst news we've received in a long time. In a long time.
Good chance.
But yeah, cool that you're getting into rugby, but when they fuck up the best thing to happen to sports, and it's,
It kind of overshadows everything else that's been said today.
yeah. So we'll leave the show here. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, uh, roast me in the comment section for my quarterback rankings. Let me know what you guys would change, who your top quarterbacks are. Um, but yeah, just let us know. Are you ready for the season?
Let us know if you watched college football.
Yeah,
You thought who your team is,
who you're rooting for.
how long you think before Alabama starts calling for Kalen DeBoer's head.
It's already
It's
started.
just,
It's
it's
already
just
started.
dialogue.
Um, but yeah, so yeah, comment, let us know, get in there. But all that being said, thank y'all for joining us. It's been Flock This Podcast. I've been Brendan.
I've been Dallas.
Thank you.